I'd like to call to order the Wilson County Commission meeting of January the 27th, 2020. I will address the issue of the heat in here right now. We do have the air fixing to be adjusted, so just bear with us on that. We do have a large crowd tonight, and so I just appreciate your cooperation and quietness as we work through our business tonight. At this time, I'll introduce Commissioner Tommy Jones for the prayer and pledge, please. Ask that you all stand.
I'd like to call my pastor up here and my grandson, Mr. Trevor Dean. He's a pastor at Gladeville Baptist Church. My grandson's Gannon Sanders. Mr. Trevor's going to lead us in the prayer, and Gannon's going to lead us in the pledge. While they're coming, I'd like to just give thanks that we live in a country and a county where we can do this. There's a lot of folks in this world don't have this opportunity.
Mr. Mayor, esteemed body of the commission, and guests, let's pray. Father, we're here tonight thanking you for the privilege that we have of this freedom of assembly, the opportunity to discuss matters that pertain to each and every one of us living in this community, in this county. We ask your blessing upon this meeting. We ask that you enable us to be able to discern with wisdom the things that need to be done, the things that need to be turned away. And Father, we just ask that you would bless each and every one present, reminding us of the freedoms and the privileges that are ours. For we ask these things in Jesus' name and for his sake. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you being a part of tonight's meeting. You will now please press yes on your panel to record your presence at tonight's meeting. Commissioner Bishop is under the weather tonight, and she sends her regards.
Gee whiz.
I think it's going to happen. It's not ready.
It's not working?
We have had computer problem. We spent about an hour today working on these. And we're going to buy us a brand new system.
Working now.
There's no lights here, though.
23 present.
23 present, 2 absent. Steering committee, Commissioner Patton.
Yes, the steering committee met on Thursday, January the 16th, 2020 at 6:15 p.m. in the upstairs conference room. The minutes are in your packet. I move that they be received as filed.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Adoption of the agenda.
Yes, we need to amend the agenda.
We do, and as it was correct that we had at the steering meeting, there are actually 3 there. Our booklet was what was wrong, so we need to amend it back to what it was in the original, which is 3 members there on the Industrial Development Board.
I need a motion to amend the agenda. Second. Anyone?
Second.
I got a motion now to amend it back to 3 instead of 2. I got a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Thank you, ma'am. And now we'll have the adoption of the agenda.
Motion made for adoption of the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Consent agenda? There's not any. Special recognition this time. Commissioner Terry Ash.
Thank you, Mayor. If family of Gary Keith would please come up, and Councilman Carmack and Mayor Ash and Mayor Hutto, if you would join us, please. While they're coming up, like for y'all to just pause just for a minute and think about all the great men and women I've known that sit in the seats where we all sat before we got in those seats. And I can see the old jury box used to be up here right now, and I can tell you where everybody used to sit back in the day. And I look back on Billy Rowland's service and John Woodruff's where I sat, and Eddie Harrison, and you can start reflecting on the fact that it was just not so very long ago that Gary Keith was in our midst. And so we attempted to do this in December, but Miss Carolyn was under the weather. So we have Miss Carolyn and Lisa and Rusty here with us today, and it'd be my honor to do this resolution. But this resolution came about because of Councilman Carmack and the city, and Mayor Ash wanted to do a joint resolution, and along with Mayor Hutto, so that's why we're here jointly representing both elected bodies, because Gary served in both bodies as a council member and a county commissioner and many other things, which I'll be read, so if you'll indulge me. A joint resolution of Wilson County Commissioners and City of Lebanon honoring the late Gary R. Keith for his years of service to the residents of Lebanon and Wilson County. Whereas Gary R. Keith was born December the 4th, 1946 in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And whereas Gary worked with the City of Lebanon Police Department before being named Parks and Recreation Director and Safety Director, the Assistant Commissioner of Public Works, and then the Commission of Public Works for Mayor Bobby Jewell. And whereas he went on to work for the Wilson County Sheriff's Department, where he retired after 25 years of service as a major. And whereas Gary served on the City Council representing Ward 5, he also represented District 17 on the Wilson County Commission from 2006 until his resignation in 2019. And whereas Commissioner Keith was a great leader in Wilson County government among fellow county commissioners, he was a visionary, always looking to move Wilson County government forward as we plan for the future. And whereas he was a valued Wilson County employee in public safety. And whereas Gary chaired the Public Works Committee, Judicial Committee, served on the Steering Committee, Health and Welfare Committees, Budget Committees, he was most proud of his work on the Insurance Committee, helping Wilson County employees. Toward the end of his Wilson County tenure, Gary also chaired the Wilson County Budget Committee. And whereas public service was very important to Gary, as was his family. He and Miss Carolyn Roberts Keith were married for 55 years, rearing 3 children, Lisa, Rusty, and Brian, and would later add 8 grandchildren, Jessica, Chase, Ross, Lori, Caitlin, Anthony, Luke, Lime. And whereas Gary is remembered as a person who cared about the people he represented, whatever role he portrayed to be, whether it's major, counselor, commissioner, son, husband, father, employee, brother, or friend, Gary was always helpful, honest, loyal, and a man of his word. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wilson County Commission and the City of Lebanon jointly wish to recognize Gary Keith, signed this day for his 50 years of service, Mayor Randall Hutto, myself, Mayor Bernie Ash, and Councilman Joey Carmack. I move for adoption of this resolution. And I believe we have, Mayor Hutto has a presentation for you.
I'd like to present you, Ms. Carroll, with the Wilson County flag for you to display at your house, place. And I know that you were looking for his picture outside, and did you find that? Hadn't found that yet, but we're going to find a duplicate if we haven't. But we honored Commissioner Keith for being a part of us. And I can tell you, not like a night where the crowd is full, would have been a night that he would have spoken with wisdom when the issues are on the rise. We thank you so much for sharing him with us. He was a dear friend to me and many of these colleagues out here. And we will remember you as time goes forward. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All I want to say is that he loved all of you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
You're welcome.
Got run against you back there.
Commissioner Patton, we'll now have a resolution honoring our WEMA employees.
Yeah, he's in that. Stand up back there.
Commissioner Scruggs. Ms. Bishop is not here, so will you do the minutes? The minutes?
Do the minutes committee.
Tonight, we have with us a couple of our EMT firefighters from Outstation 7 out Statesville. And we have Miss Sarah and Mr. Hap Harrington and Annie with us. Be careful, she bites. Politicians. Annie's 15 years old. Okay, tonight we want to tell you about something that happened in December. Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, honoring WEMA employees John Matthews and Josh Collins. Whereas on December the 22nd, 2019, WEMA personnel paramedic firefighter John Matthews and AEMT firefighter Josh Collins responded along with members of the Watertown Fire Department, Commander James Copus, and Medic 2 to Kennedy Creek Road to report of a person trapped in a cave. For those of you who don't know, Kennedy Creek Road is the far edge of Wilson County. I mean, it's like the end of Wilson County, back in the middle of nowhere. Report of a person trapped in a cave. Whereas while en route, dispatch informed those responding that a male was trying to get the family pet out of a cave and had become entrapped himself. And whereas the rope rescue team was also dispatched and en route to the scene. And whereas upon arriving at the scene, it was learned that the man was not actually trapped in an actual cave, but instead in a large pile of rocks that had been built up from building the house. And whereas once the man advised he was not trapped, he asked for help in rescuing his dog. And whereas paramedic Matthews assisted the owner out of the void space, then began trying to extricate the dog. And whereas the dog had crawled underneath the rocks because of fear of the weather, and a large rock had shifted and partially fell on the dog. And whereas paramedic Matthews was somehow able to free the dog and brought the dog out into the open, where it was determined that the dog had very labored breathing and was very weak. And whereas after the dog was given oxygen, in about 5 minutes, the dog was up and moving around, drinking and eating normally. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, that we hereby honor and recognize WEMA personnel John Matthews and Josh Collins for going above and beyond the call of duty by working to save a family pet after first determining that the dog's owner was safe. Be it further resolved that we recognize the commitment of WEMA employees like these to handle emergencies, help the injured, and save lives. Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I have a resolution here for both of them, but Miss Harrington would like to say a few words. That night was extremely wet and rainy, and they were on their way to a Christmas party that they did not get to. But she called me and said, I want you to recognize these people for what they did in that terrible weather.
It was December 22nd, and we were actually going to a friend's Christmas party. We were all getting ready, and all of a sudden, we're farmers now, straight from the city. I had 4 cows, 12 chickens, and 5 dogs, and that makes me a farmer, kind of. And I was feeding the chickens, and I kept hearing this dog barking, and I had no idea where the dog was. So I got half out there. He looked around, and he went down the embankment, and he said, it's Annie. I said, what are you talking about, it's Annie? He said, she's in this hole. I can get her. I said, good. Well, he went in there and he was going to get her. And it was raining just terribly. And I was standing out there being the dutiful wife, you know. And I said, "Are you ready to come in now?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "But there's one problem. I can't." I said, "What do you mean you can't?" He said, "I can't get out." He was stuck. He could not get out. So I called these wonderful men, and they came and pulled both of them out. And we are so proud to have them as part of our community, and I hope you guys realize how much work they do. And I mean, there's only 2 full-time people there, which it just blows me away, that much responsibility on 2 people. You ought to give them 4. And the reason I say that is because I'm a nurse and I understand, you know, all this. But anyway, he saved our dog, saved my husband. Here we are. But hip hip to these guys, I'm telling you.
Chief Cooper, could you come forward, please? He has something.
Is it money? Is that money? Free vacation. Free vacation.
Yeah. Along with the resolution that Commissioner Patton had done, I want to present both employees with an administrative commendation for the job that they done. And these 2 employees are so great. That's why we put them out there by themselves, because we know that they can take care of the situation without calling for help. But thank you guys for your service, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you for the job you do.
Thank you.
Yes. I would also like to recognize just real quick, on this call also was Watertown Volunteer Fire Department. And I think everybody may have received information on the calls that they run in their station. Well, 73% of what they do is supporting us in the county. So, you know, without them, we could not do our job on that end of the county. So I want to recognize them also and tell them thank you for the service that they provide. Thank you.
Thank you both. Yes. Commissioner Stafford, do you have anything to bring tonight on school board? Just in recognition.
Give me a second. Just give me a second. I would like to defer it to somebody else for real quick.
Okay. All right.
I know it.
Ma'am? Well,
We need your chairman pro tem is coming up there. Can you tell us?
You need to step down there.
She didn't. She didn't.
You bring the handcuffs?
You can read the bag.
You bring the handcuffs?
You have to get between us.
No, but you're like.
He loves standing between Diane.
oh, yeah.
That's why I put him in the middle.
Top of my list. I'm excited.
I don't know how many of you saw in the paper that Mayor Hutto has been recognized by the Lebanon High School Sports Hall of Fame. He's relieved now. So we have a resolution for him. Whereas prior to his election as Wilson County Mayor in September of 2010, Randall Hutto had a long and distinguished career in education and athletics. And whereas Hutto, a graduate of Watertown High School, I guess I should have said Mayor Hutto, and Middle Tennessee State University, spent 18 years at Lebanon High School as a teacher and a coach, the last 12, 1991 to 2003, as head coach of the Blue Devils boys basketball team. And whereas his teams compiled a 237 to 127 record with a winning percentage of .651, including 7 seasons of at least 20 victories and averaging 19.8 wins per season. And whereas 3 of his teams during that tenure earned spots in the TSSAA state tournament in 1995, 2000, and 2001, and 4 teams appeared in the TSSAA sub-state. And whereas during this time there were 2 regional tournament championships in 1995 and 2000, and 2 district tournament championships in 1995 and 2001. And whereas 4 times he was named District 7 AAA Coach of the Year, and the Nashville Banner named him Mid-State Coach of the Year in 1996. And whereas in 1999, he was asked to coach the East-West All-Star basketball game. And whereas prior to assuming the duties of the head coaching job at Lebanon High School, he spent 6 seasons coaching the 9th grade team, during that time winning 3 district tournaments. And whereas his coaching ability was not limited to basketball, as he spent 16 seasons as an assistant football coach, working under head coach Mark Medley, Bob Dillard, and Ron Marshall. And whereas Coach Hutto also coached the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Huddle at Lebanon High School for 14 years while teaching math, history, and physical education. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, that we hereby honor Wilson County Mayor Randall Hutto for his selection of the Lebanon High School Sports Hall of Fame, an honor worthy of his commitment to his student athletes, Lebanon High School, and his accomplishments in the field of education and athletics. Congratulations.
I didn't hear a motion to accept that. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say?
There is one thing.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be honored by you. It's definitely an honor to be a part of the Hall of Fame, and I don't take that lightly at all. And as I've told people before, I love coaching, and I would have done it for free. I'm glad nobody told them that. But it really is special to have you recognize me, and I appreciate working with you every day, and this means so much to me. Thank you for that.
Now, Mayor, back to what I really needed to say.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to let everybody know that on Monday, I will be honoring the Wilson County School Board for School Board Appreciation Week, January the 30th, which is Thursday at 5 p.m. if you'd like to come.
Thank you, Commissioner Stafford, and again, thank you for your recognition tonight. Reports of Minutes Committee, Commissioner Scruggs.
Met January the 16th, 2020, 6 o'clock. Be received and filed.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Reading of the minutes.
I move we dispense with the reading of the minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Tonight, just to let you know, as we talk about from communication from the chair, Mr. Larry Searcy has been appointed to the West Wilson Utility Board. No action on your part. We just have to let you know that and read that into the minutes. Also, that Miss Nancy Gateline has been appointed to the Gladeville Utility Board to fill the vacancy created by the passing of Miss Ann Chapman. No necessary action is there either. I will say a couple of other things. One would be that me and Mr. Maynard are working on a budget timeline. And when you get that, just so you know, we want to try to work towards a June 30th budget deadline for us. We will not pass that budget at that time, but we want to try to work towards that this time. So you'll see those dates moved up, and we're going to attempt to do that and be complete by the 30th. We'll still pass it in August as always, because we'll be waiting on the school system to do theirs just like normal. They will work towards theirs maybe next year. So we're working that way. These are all part of what Aaron is doing to improve our financial accreditation. I appreciate what he's doing there and many other avenues he's going to show you in the front about our finances. So just know when you get that letter and those dates look different from before, we are working on that. We still have the full time to do that. I just want to kind of give you a heads up. Also, you receive another email. You were getting so many this week. I did not want to confuse you or let it get lost on the jail update on where we're at on that. So a timeline is there for you. We will get that to you probably Wednesday or Thursday one, okay? Other than that, I have no other announcements to make. I'm going to move forward with the elections and appointments. Notaries, Mr. Goodall, anybody to be added to the list?
That's good.
Do I hear a motion to approve a notary list? Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Board of Health, you are to, got 6 members who elect here to the Board of Health. They serve a 4-year term. A letter of recommendation for the Wilson County Health Director from the Wilson County Health Director, Mr. Tim Defner, was in your packet recommending the following individuals to serve along with myself and Dr. Wright. I recommend them as Dr. Chris McAteer, Dr. James Morris, Mr. Brian Pirtle, Dr. Wayne Wells, Dr. Teresa Larkins, and Miss Julie Mills. Mr. Scott Benson has also been included in that, along with Dr. Wright, to complete out the educational form. Do I hear a motion to approve these?
Okay.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Industrial Development Board, there are 3 members here you are to elect to the Industrial Development Board who will serve a 6-year term for your consideration. I recommend Mr. Elmer Richardson, Mr. Phil Smart, and Mr. Ed James. Information about these were included in your packet. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Industrial Development Board, and this one is to fill a vacancy of the unexpired term of Miss Vondi Smith. Miss Vondi Smith has been, that is the wife of the late Mr. Dan Smith. They both are icons in our community, did many, many things in public service and served on many boards for us. But her health will not allow her to serve further on this, and so she has asked that we would graciously put somebody in her place at time. And so we thank her for her service and what she's done for our county, and would like to recommend to you to put Mr. Terry McPeak to finish out her full term in there.
Second.
I got a motion to second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The Ag Extension, there's 1 member here during the December 16th, 2019 commission meeting. We elected 3 members to serve when in fact we should have elected 4, and one of those up for re-election was Commissioner Sarah Patton, so that was our fault on that, so we mistakenly left her out. Both Ms. Carell and the Ag Extension Director, and I would like to recommend Ms. Patton to be re-elected to this board. Got a motion? Do I hear a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Okay. And a report from the Emergency Management Committee. Commissioner Glover.
The Emergency Management Agency Committee met on Tuesday, January 14th at 5 p.m. at the WEMA training room on Oak Street. Minutes were in your package, made to be received and filed.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Now any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Emergency Management Director's report. Director Cooper. Your panel should be working, so if you want to talk, please push that, and I'll recognize you. If not, if it don't, just holler at me.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, County Commission. In your packet, if you have it, I want to highlight a few areas for you. We'll go over a few things. Our year-to-date call volume for 2019 was complete. We did end that with 16,813 calls, which is the highest we've been at this point. On the district summary sheet, I want to throw out District 21 with the highest ambulance calls of 1,215. District 20, 1,195. And District 17, 981. On the fire, District 13 had 56, District 15 had 50, and District 5 had 43. In rescue, District 14 had 224, District 13 had 179, and District 6 and District 21 come in with 167 apiece. So your next sheet, the monthly call report. All right, this is ambulance runs per station. So our Station 1, which is on Maddox Simpson, 3,397. And our Station 9, which is out on 231 North, had 2,962. So in addition to that, the closest one that come to that point was 1,159. So, the biggest point there is Station 1 and 9, which are both Lebanon stations, pretty much run 55% of all ambulance calls within the whole county. Those two stations run 55% of all 11 that we have, and that's a lot. That's a lot for those crews. If you break it down by county and city, I do want to show that. Lebanon, 5,901 total ambulance calls, and then the county itself come in at 4,980. So, we are very busy, but we are maintaining a 99.8 average of ACLS ambulance calls. So that's a good thing, because when first got appointed, we were running pretty much like 95% in that area. So we have got it up to 99.8, and I think that's miraculous. Other than that, that concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
Mr. Stafford?
Not necessarily having a question, I need to explain that District 20 and 21, we have 3 nursing homes in our district, so it's not trouble over there, please, just want to.
That's correct. That's correct.
And they do a lot of public assist at those nursing homes, yes. Any other comments?
Mhm. That's correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you, Director Cooper. Report from the Law Enforcement Committee, Commissioner Rich.
No report.
Sheriff's report, Sheriff Bryan.
Thank you, Mayor, County Commissioners. Your report's in your packet. You look at this last month's numbers and you see the majority of them pretty much are up drastically. We see that sometimes during the month of December because a lot of people's off of work, the holidays, different things like that. But the calls for service are up. The state warrants received are up a whole lot, and the civil process where we get every day is up, and I see that continue to rise. I do want to mention, I will say every time about the jail, that number is always up. It seems like every time I stand up here, it's up. But I appreciate the calls, the work everybody's doing to address that problem, and hopefully y'all get that in front of y'all here in the next few months, and we're close. So I appreciate y'all considering that. The work bus work crews are still out, even though it's wintertime. We've had some pretty good weather. Remind you, if you have anything needs addressed, please let us know. We'll get it done. School's back in session. SROs are staying busy. And I just want to say one more thing. I want to congratulate Mayor Hutto on his Sports Hall of Fame in Lebanon. But when I was in high school, he was doing his student teaching. So you got a few years on me, okay? So that concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
I hear a motion to approve and get him off.
So moved.
All in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you, Sheriff Bryan. Report from the Education Committee, Commissioner Stafford. Director of Schools report, Dr. Donna Wright.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. You were doing your student teaching? Huh?
Did.
And what year were you in school, Sheriff? That's good, though. That's really good. Brief report in your packet. Again, coming in after winter break, you've got a listing as far as items that we addressed. The open enrollment schools, you're looking at enrollment. In fact, the day after we came back on that first day, there were 30 additional students enrolled at Lebanon High School. So we grew again after the first year, which is amazing. Usually you don't see any type of enrollment in the middle of the year. And just, again, some updates as far as make you aware of the Teacher of the Year nominees. And you also have, I thought that might be of interest to you, that year-end summary that I provided to our board out of the departments. It not only highlights, but also continued challenges and focus. And as we continue to make great progress, I'm extremely proud of the work that our teachers and our administrators are putting forth. They're making great strides as we continue to have more focus on state requirements that are unfunded and mandates as well. So again, there's just some information for you to peruse that as far as what we've accomplished in the last school year, where we're headed, and one that, again, quite proud of the achievement of this school district, and that's across the district as well. And barring no questions, that concludes my report, believe it or not.
Second.
Any discussion, Commissioner Gentry?
Yeah, on your first part of your report, you talk about a motion that was made to give the sophomores and rising juniors an opportunity to stay at the high school. Now, what is a rising junior? What does that mean?
That means as far as that this year they're a sophomore, and
Okay, and the sophomores would be the ones that are freshmen now? Okay, but the seniors are allowed to stay, correct?
seniors, that as far as those that will be going into their senior or their terminal year, yes.
Okay, what about sports people? Same thing applies to all the sports?
Same thing applies.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Commissioner Breeze?
Yes, but the enrollment number, I see in the report, it's 19,174 in January. Can you remind us what it was in September? Just so we can.
Beginning of the school year?
The beginning of the school year, so we can kind of get an idea as to kind of what growth looks like.
As far as our full and part-time, on that beginning of the year, it was about 18,968. But when you look in as far as what we also have as far as part-time, it was 19,116.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Dr. Wright. Register of Deeds report, Ms. Murphy.
Ladies and gentlemen, commissioners, mayors, you should have your packets for the registrar's office in front of you. If you have any questions, I'm here to address that at the moment. If not, I ask that they be submitted into your packets.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Second, I would like to address that on our website search. I was not aware till I spoke to Mr. Franklin here that all of you did not have access to our search site. And I know Mr. Ollie probably did not, but with courtesy, I have implemented each and every one their own username and password. If you have trouble navigating, please call me or the girls in the office. We will help you. You may have questions for someone in your district, questions such as, who owns the property next to me, or do they have a plat or survey, where's their boundary lines, etc. You may be able to help them. If not, address it to the office and we'll go further. I will help you in any way I can. That's what we're here for. Okay? Third, back in the past, we brought a resolution to reinstate the commissioner's 2.6 commission fee for the mortgage and realty tax. Well, needless to say, I got this letter yesterday. I regretfully inform you that the Register's Commission bill will not be passed this year. The bill has been withdrawn from both the House and the Senate floor January 23rd. The Legislative Committee and Executive Director of Coates, Rodney Archer, and CTAS legal consultant Christy Brown have discussed the options and decided to withdraw the bill from the House and the Senate floor. Therefore, the Legislative Committee are formulating a new strategy to try to direct this bill to get our 2.6. I know that commission would help this county, and we're trying every way we can. But needless to say, no cigar. So anyway, we'll do all we can. If I can ever help you, please don't hesitate to come and see me. Mr. Ali, I know you haven't been in the office, but if you ever need us, we're here, okay? Thank you. Any questions?
Commissioner Benata?
Just a comment. I had the opportunity to go in, and Jackie helped me a lot on title recently, and I just want to say publicly thank you so much, Jackie.
Well, that's what we do, honey. Just come anytime.
Any other questions? Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Thank you.
We did that in twice, we did. Trustees report, Mr. Jim Major.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, members of the county court, and Mayor Hutto. We have collected so far this year for the tax year 2019 taxes $53,655,558, or 53% to be collected. The bulk of the county's money will come in the last 3 weeks of February. You also have $34,850,000 in your CDs. This morning at 10 o'clock, according to Jimmy Schrum, we have in our checking account $70,586,974.03. This concludes my report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Thank you, Mr. Major. Road Superintendent report, Mr. Steve Murphy.
Mayor, Commissioners, on your desk, you should have your new road list for 2020. For the year 2019, we paved altogether 57.069 miles. Our guys are still out patching when the weather is permitted. We've upgraded our maintenance list for our new paving for 5-year. If you happen to see that list, that is a wish list. It's not just a list that's guaranteed. So if you see it, you know, it could be paved and it might not be paved. But other than that, we're just doing our regular maintenance.
Motion to approve. Report.
Any discussion, questions? Yes, sir.
What's the 2 on here? What's the what? What's the 2 on your class? That's the class of the road. It's just tells. Well, that's kind of medium.
What about driveways?
What about driveways? What about them? We don't do driveways, sir.
For Hall of Famers.
We'll fix you covered at the edge of the road, but we don't do driveways.
Put you in a bind, Frank.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. That also approved the road list that is in your packet as well. That would be included in the approval. Ag Center report, Mr. Quentin Smith.
Mayor, Commissioners, guests, we've got a whole lot going on out at the Ag Center. First off, I want to thank you, Commissioners, for last budget deal of giving us a sheriff's officer out there where we can have the inmates out there all the time. And I tell you what, y'all can't imagine what good that does us out there. We just got through completing the light show. Many of you, I know, went through the dancing lights. I thought I'd give you a breakdown tonight so you would know what the light show brought in. It brought $40,918 to the James E. Ward Ag Center. The other things that they did, they ended up and had $15,877 worth of gravel that they put down. That was about $1,000 more gravel than what we got out of them last year. A lot of you participated in that. I know you did, Mayor. The 5K run that they did through the lights, that raised $15,000 for the charity. It went to a charity. Fiddler's Grove got $5,000 donation in cash. They also got tickets to sell. They got a little over $4,000 out of their tickets, so Fiddler's Grove ended up with about $9,000 out of the light show. Tennessee Kidney Foundation, through tickets that they donated to them and let them sell those tickets, That amounted to a little over $5,500. Ronald McDonald House, they also received tickets. They ended up with a little over $7,500 out of their ticket sale. Salvation Army local chapters, you know, most of it went through, probably seen some of those folks taking up money there at the ticket booth. They actually took up a little over $11,000 for that charity. Joseph Storehouse, many of you, they brought canned food items. They ended up with a little over 3,800 pounds of canned food donated. Also, the veterans, they had a free week for the veterans. There was actually a little over 2,500 cars with veterans and their families that went through the light show free of charge. This thing's really been a really successful deal. The cars that actually paid going through the light show was off a little bit. I was discussing that with our road superintendent there a while ago. But what the deal was is, if you know, this year, the way Thanksgiving fell and Christmas, you had a week shortage in there between Thanksgiving, and that was about the amount of cars that they were off. But that gives you an idea of what that light show, what it does for us. They actually they come in and they set the whole thing up. We have to do very little work for is the light end, and it's a big plus for the James E. Ward Ag Center. Things that's coming, we got Tennessee beef exhibition that'll be coming in March. That's always a big deal. This will be the 10th year that it has been in Wilson County. The other thing, last year we got a deal, got the smoke on the shore, the barbecue, big deal from Nashville. They liked our facility so good that they're going to be back in March also. So that gives you an idea of a couple of things coming up, which we'll have the rodeo before I give another report. In April, we'll have a rodeo. I can tell you that our buildings out there, there's some of them rented every night, 7 days a week, so it's pretty much around the clock out there. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Quinton. Great report. Report from the Public Works Committee, Commissioner Weathers.
Mr. Chairman, the Public Works Committee met Monday, January 13th, here at the courthouse, and the minutes are in your packet. Move the minutes be received and filed.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ag Center Management, Commissioner Scruggs.
Met January 16th, 2020. Received in the packet. Second.
I got a motion and a second. Now any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Animal Control, Commissioner Marlowe.
Animal Control Committee met January the 16th at 5 o'clock in the upstairs conference room. Minutes are in your packet. I move they be received and filed.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Audit, Commissioner Bernard.
No report.
Cable Tax, Commissioner Walker.
No report.
Development Tourism, Commissioner Vanatta. Ethics, Commissioner Ash.
No report.
Finance, Commissioner Weathers.
No report.
Health and Recreation, Commissioner Patton.
No report.
Insurance, Commissioner Ash.
No report.
Judicial, Commissioner Glover.
No report.
Planning and Zoning, Commissioner McFarland.
No report.
Rules, Commissioner Gentry.
No report.
Urban Type Facility Board, Commissioner Scruggs.
Urban Type Facility Board met January 24th, 2020. The minutes are in your packet. Move, receive, and file.
Second.
Motion is second. Now discussion. Seeing none, excuse me.
It's got 2019 on there.
I'll correct it.
Approve the minutes as amended. I got a motion and a second on that. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Finance Director's report. Mr. Aaron Maynard.
Couple of things I need to report to you tonight, but
First, if WEMA ever comes out to my house and I've fallen into a hole trying to retrieve a dog and they help me, my wife will be awfully glad to get the dog back. I got a call from the Department of Revenue 4 or 5 days ago. Miss Rachel Hall, and Miss Rachel informed me that we had been overpaid on sales tax, county only, did not affect the cities, to the tune of about $1 million.
Overpaid.
Now, don't panic.
Really?
I've done some research and got with Miss Hall. So in January of 2019, we over-received about $120,000. Well, what was reported for February 2019. So sales reported for February 2019 would be collected by the state in March and remitted to us in April. So as far as last year goes, it's really only April, May, and June that we're talking about. And that's what we're projecting our increase off of on the sales tax referendum. Plus, when you look at it, the county receives $6,282,000. City of Lebanon, $25,600,000. Mount Juliet, $21 million. So in the broad scheme of things, it does not change our numbers on the projection hardly at all. Barely even moves the needle. So, but we do have to look at it from the terms of the school system. I look at it I've begun to look at it this way. In essence, they have prepaid us because they're going to basically allow us to keep $275,000 on the county portion. Everything over and above that, they're going to keep to offset what they overpaid us. But because the majority of the error is in this year, it's going to basically smooth it. It's going to be back about like it was, I think. I think when it's all said and done, it's going to wash out pretty close. I really do. I don't know how many of you are following and how good a point I'm making, but I think it's going to wash out pretty good. Secondarily, as far as the budget report goes, I'm very happy with where we are, particularly in the general fund. I think we're at 55% on property tax collections. I think we were at 53% last year. Everything seems to be, in good shape. So that pretty much concludes my report, unless you have any specific questions on either issue.
Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Maynard. Report from the Budget Committee, Commissioner Marlowe.
Budget Committee met Thursday, January the 16th, 6:30 in the upstairs conference room. Minutes are in your packet. I move they be received and filed.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolutions now, Mr. Marlowe.
Showtime.
Because we have a number of parents, students, and teachers in the audience, I'd like to make a motion to move resolution number 15 to the front.
15.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution 15.
Resolution 2115, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, authorizing the reallocation of outstanding general obligation bond proceeds to cost of capital improvements at West Wilson Middle School. Move to approve.
I got a motion and a second. Now, any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Oh, Commissioner Franklin.
Yeah, I would just like to ask that the school board rebid the project. It's been a number of years. It's at a different location. There are different geological aspects to the project, and I think it would be more fair to the taxpayers as well as private sector contractors who may appreciate the work to bid the project again. And if the current contractor wants to bid exactly what he bid on the school in Gladeville, he certainly can. And if he's low bidder, then he can certainly get the project, and I would be happy to support this. But there's two reasons to bid projects, and one of them is to take care of the private sector. And I'm afraid not bidding projects is what's led us to build $110 million high schools when most other counties aren't. And I would just like to put that out there and ask the school system to just say that they will bid the project so I can vote for it.
Any other comments? Are we ready to vote? Please cast your vote. Commissioner Marlowe nodded. Okay. All of them are here. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record. 14 yes. 9 no. Resolution passes. Move forward.
Okay, Resolution 2013, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, to amend the budget and appropriations resolutions for the 2019-20 fiscal year to make an additional appropriation from the Capital Projects Fund to capital projects.
Got a motion and a second now. Commissioner Glover?
I'd like to amend the resolution to include if the appraisal comes back at or below, to go ahead and approve the purchase price and the purchase of property, so we don't lose the property in the meantime while we're sitting there dragging our feet.
I got a motion and an amendment for a second there. Any discussion on the amendment? Commissioner Rich?
He's saying if it comes back at or below, coming back to the commission.
Yes, sir. Any other discussion? All in favor on the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So we'll do a roll call on that one, please.
I think we need to vote on the money.
Roll call on the amendment, or we'll vote on the amendment. The amendment is that if the appraisal comes back at or above the cost of the purchase of the building, to go at or, but at a,
If it comes in at or above
at or above is
the price.
is the amendment. At or above.
Stuff comes back,
Okay.
we're gonna pay what we offer.
So the appraisal has to be at 875 or better. If it comes back below, the deal's off.
Right.
Yes. So if it comes back above, then you would purchase that. And that's what you're voting on the amendment to the original resolution. Any questions for me before we vote? Commissioner Walker?
Yeah, I was in the Public Works Committee meeting, we discussed this, and there was discussion about the cost of the building, and then there was another cost tied to renovations. Would we come back as a body separately to vote on the renovations amount?
It would be in the capital project, and I can come back to you for that. Yes. I will have to come back and get that money. Commissioner Stafford?
This is just to pay for the appraisal. What we're getting ready to vote on.
This is actually Commissioner Stafford to pay for the appraisal, and if the appraisal comes back, Commissioner Stafford, above the purchase price, to also purchase it. So you're voting on both tonight, okay, on the amendment. Any other questions? Commissioner Walker?
Is there an amount not to exceed what's the amount of funds we're voting for on the building? It's 875 or?
875 is the price that we have right now, and so if the appraisal comes back at 875 or better, then you're saying tonight by voting yes that you want to purchase the building. Commissioner Rich?
So we're gonna do this tonight with no discussion on this or anything. I mean, I don't really see. You were in Florida. Well, I knew where it was, but, we're gonna do this with no discussion and just by, an amendment vote, we're gonna vote to spend this much money tonight with it out coming back to the county court. And just, that makes no sense to me whatsoever.
So what we did is we had a public
I know.
works meeting on it,
I
and then
know.
we had a budget meeting on it, and then now it's coming to you. That's the way most of our projects go. And then what we were gonna do was gonna vote that, to pay for the appraisal and then bring it back to you. And a lot of projects we have done, we voted to pass the project if the appraisal comes back. If the appraisal don't come back, or there's any other problems that come up, the deal is off. Okay? Any other questions? Commissioner Gentry?
The title insurance or title, is Is that gonna be included in this too?
Title insurance is going to happen. That was voted on in the Public Works, and so we will purchase that, yes, sir.
So if it doesn't come out with a clean title, we don't buy it either.
We're going to do title insurance no matter what. Yes, sir. Any other questions? Commissioner Patton?
I'm just thinking that all these things you're saying is gonna happen, and there's nothing written in this resolution that says that.
Well, in our Public Works meeting the other night, we voted, in the Budget Committee as well, to vote to do title insurance. That's where that comes from.
I realize that, and but it doesn't say that in this resolution, and it only says $8,000 here.
The original resolution is only for the price of the appraisal.
Exactly.
It doesn't say any of this other stuff. He's saying it in an amendment.
Amendment.
Okay, so, oh, all right, I just wanna be sure that we're on the same page.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Walker?
The other piece that's missing out of here is how you're gonna pay for it. I know we discussed it in Public Works, but I'm inclined, like Mr. Rich here, that we do need to bring it up and discuss how we're gonna pay for it. It's not in writing here anyway. I know how we discussed in Public Works, but I think for the benefit of all the commissioners that weren't there, it needs to be.
Six-year capital outlay note was what was suggested. Again, you can vote the amendment down, and then go back and vote for the appraisal, and then it would come back to you. Any other questions? If not, are we ready to vote on the amendment? Commissioner Walker? No, sir, you're good? Okay. All right. Vote on the amendment, please. Remember, you're voting yes to amend the resolution to purchase the building. And the appraisal would have to be $875,000 or better for us to purchase that building. That's what you're adding to this with title insurance. If we need to state that as a part of this, we can. 6-year capital outlay note as well.
Patton and Walker.
Are all hearts and minds good with your vote? Any questions before we tally the vote? Everybody's good. Please record.
17 yes, 5 no, 1 abstaining, 2 absent.
So now we're going to go back and vote on the resolution to pay for the appraisal at $8,000 or less. And by the way, I did get 4 appraisals, price bids, and it's $2,800 is what that would be on that one with a reputable company. So now you're going to approve or deny the resolution as amended, okay? Any questions on what we're voting on now? Commissioner Jones?
Can we lower that 8,000 down to the actual price of the appraisal?
Well, I had him, I really jumped the gun. I had him here early last week to try to get that done. Well, I didn't have your approval, so I told him to go home. So he's going to come back. My hopes are he's still good at 2,800. So I don't think he would change on me, but that's what we talked about, so. I had a hard price. Yes, sir, but my hopes are it's still 2,800. My hopes are still 2,800, and all you're doing is giving me the leeway to go 8,000, but I'm gonna go as cheap as I can find it, okay? Other questions, Mr. Gentry?
Yes, could you have an amendment, or can you have the whole resolution rewritten so we know what we're actually gonna vote on, like how we're gonna pay for the title insurance and all that? Because this resolution we're looking at, plus a few words in here that are very confusing to a lot of people, I'm sure, is not very, very specific.
So I was specific when I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let me say again, this resolution was only for the price of.
Exactly.
All this other stuff came up tonight.
I know that, and that's why I'm saying.
It couldn't be in this written thing.
I know, I'm not saying it should be in this one. All I'm saying is, would it not be more appropriate to get a resolution written to say actually in what we're really gonna do, instead of voting this, which has nothing in it except this basic for the appraisal? That's all I'm saying.
You've already voted to approve.
Yeah.
If you vote down the resolution, then all bets are off. You just now voted to purchase.
I'm just
Mr.
saying,
Gentry,
we should look at a resolution at what it actually is instead of this resolution amended by voices. That's all I'm saying.
And I understand that, Mr. Ginger, but every time that we amend a resolution here, we don't have it in writing. And so tonight, what you said was we're going to amend it to do it if it come in above the appraisal price. You said also in the conversation to amend it to make sure it had title insurance. And you also said we would pay for it out of a 6-year capital outlay note. So that's what you're voting on. That's what you said the amendment was.
That's not what was in the amendment. None of that was in the amendment.
We added.
The amendment said if it comes in less or greater than 875, then go ahead and buy it. None of that other stuff about title insurance, how we're gonna buy it, or anything is in the amendment.
Well, that's what we stated that we wanted in the amendment when Commissioner Patton brought the
Well, who
issue up.
brought the amendment forth?
Commissioner Glover, do you accept those, Mr.
Exactly,
Glover? Is
he
that,
didn't have that in the amendment.
that was the understanding on the amendment? Again, you can vote this down if you want to as a full resolution and bring it back. I guess, Mike, they could reconsider the amendment. Somebody can call it back up and we can do it all over again if you want to do that. Commissioner Glover can do that right now if he wants to, and we'll go back and restate that amendment if that makes it better for people.
It is. It's no way to run a railroad.
Any comments on doing that, or are you ready to vote?
What's the hurry?
Questions called for. Commissioner Jones?
One question, I know Commissioner Walker's done asked, but I want to make sure, are we including the 425 in this to remodel, or are we just buying a building?
You're not. You will come back for capital projects to do the renovations.
Buying a building?
Just buying a building. Yes, sir. Any other questions? Any other comments? Are we ready to vote? Are we good?
Yes.
Voting on the resolution as amended to buy the building. If it comes in with appraisal above the purchase price of $875, we will have title insurance as I talked about in this amendment and also in the Public Works meeting and the budget meeting. And we will also do a 6-year capital outlay note to purchase the building.
You'll have to bring the capital outlay note back.
We will.
We'll have to come back.
Is this capital outlay going to include the improvements?
It could at that time. It could at that time, yes, sir. Any other?
Which we don't know how much it is.
Yeah, it is written down. That, you did get that and an itemized list of what the renovations would be. I sent it to everybody. I kept you informed the whole way through. Yes, ma'am. Commissioner McFarland? Got you. We are ready to vote on the resolution as amended. Please cast your vote. Commissioner Weathers? All our hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record. 17 yes, 6 no, resolution passes.
Before I go on the next resolution, I just want to let the West Wilson Middle School people know that Resolution 15 that we voted on a while ago was for West Wilson Middle School, and it was approved. You're welcome to stay as long as you want to, but just want to let you know, just in case you're wondering.
Proceed, Commissioner Glover.
Okay, Resolution 20-1-4, a resolution encouraging the support of legislation which directs TennCare to reimburse ground.
We take a 5-minute recess so everybody can clear before we start.
We can just, if you'll hang on just a second, we'll let them clear, and then we'll go right back unless you just.
Me too. I must have some water.
Second.
You want a recess?
In the committee?
Make the motion. Make a motion. I got a motion, 5-minute recess and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, be back in 5 minutes, please.
was only to fact all that, but I just don't think it's something we should vote on out here. I don't disagree with that.
Beat you. Let me see who I got left. Comes Mr. Ali, and I'm waiting on Commissioner Costley. Commissioner Costley. All I like. Okay. Let's go.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
We have to go back in session and vote?
There a motion to go back in session? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's go.
Resolution 20-1-4, resolution encouraging the support of legislation which directs TennCare to reimburse ground ambulance providers at a rate not less than the current Medicare fee schedule and adding funding to the 2020-2021 state budget.
Any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote.
Scruggs.
Mr. Scruggs? All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record.
23 yes, 2 absent.
23 yes, 2 absent. Resolution passes.
Resolution 20-1-5, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, of no consent to refugee resettlement in Wilson County.
Hear a motion from the floor. Got a motion, do I hear a second? I got a motion and a second, now discussion. Commissioner Jones?
I'd like to make a motion to postpone this indefinitely.
Do I hear a second? Now other discussion? Commissioner Stafford?
Well, I have a question, it don't matter now, I wanted to know who sponsored this resolution, being it's not signed by anybody, but if we table it indefinitely, it doesn't matter.
Commissioner McFarland?
I was going to ask County Attorney to kind of explain this, if you want to have no consent, we have to vote yes on this resolution. And I wanted them to make sure that everybody understood that, but now that it's the motion on the table, we'll just wait.
Okay. Commissioner Franklin?
Yes. We met January 16th at 5:30 here in the courthouse, and I scheduled the meeting to be around the most commissioners that usually gather for committee meetings. There were 17 county commissioners in and around the meeting. This did pass and was recommended unanimously, and there was very little discussion. There was some discussion. There was 2 or 3 attempts at, again, about a dozen county commissioners in the audience to speak to the issue, and there was very little discussion.
Any other comments before we vote on the motion to table it? Commissioner Jones?
This is an issue that I feel is just not what we ought to be voting on at this level. This is a national issue or a state issue. It's not a county issue.
Commissioner Rich?
Yes, I'd like to get the attorney to give us a definition of, or what tabling indefinitely is.
Motion to postpone indefinitely is similar to a tabling motion.
When would it come back?
If somebody would have to make a motion to bring it back, and as I understand Robert's Rules of Order, if you put it on the agenda to bring it back, it'll take 13. If you don't put it on there, but you try to bring it back unannounced, it takes 2/3.
Okay.
Commissioner Ash?
In this type,
But, yeah, but that's basically the same as the table. Yeah.
is this tied up in litigation?
My understanding is that the president's executive order has been enjoined by a federal judge in Maryland. I don't know anything about the details of when they're gonna have a further hearing on it or anything like that.
I've been up here,
Last word I had, Commissioner.
I've been up here a long time. There's 2 things you do as county commissioners. You either vote to spend money or you don't vote. And how you spend your money dictates your policy. And I got problems with it, that's all. I just don't want to get tied up in personal stuff.
Commissioner Costley?
Did we not receive a email from CTAS telling us Wilson County was not even involved in this? That it did not affect Wilson County?
Correct.
The refugee movement? Was I correct in saying that?
Any other questions? We're ready to vote on the motion to table the issue. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
No.
So we'll do a roll call.
And you need to make sure, Commissioner Jones, it's a motion to postpone indefinitely is the correct language.
The amendment that you're voting on is to postpone the resolution indefinitely. You would vote yes if you want to do that. You would vote no if you don't want to. Please cast your vote. Commissioner Patton? All hearts and minds good with the vote that you've cast? Please record.
16 yes, 6 no, 1 abstaining, 2 absent.
Resolution is tabled or postponed indefinitely. Okay, so we'll move on.
Resolution 20-1. Resolution 20-1-6, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, designating and declaring Wilson County, Tennessee, a Second Amendment sanctuary county.
Any discussion? Commissioner Jones?
Same thing here, postpone this indefinitely. It's just not an issue that we should be voting on here, in my opinion.
We will not have conversation in here. No. This court is for the commissioners to speak. We appreciate your attendance, but we have to have order in here. I've got a motion and a second on the floor to postpone the amendment indefinitely. Now discussion. Commissioner Franklin.
This too was scheduled during the legislative committee meeting at a time when there were 17 commissioners available.
Working on that for you.
It did pass unanimously. I just found out that Rutherford County did pass identical resolution this evening, just right before we convened. This is going around. I've been told by some people that Tennessee is not at any risk of losing Second Amendment rights or any of that, and yet there's already bills filed. A red flag bills are filed at the legislature right now, where one complaint against anyone with a handgun permit, carry permit, a legal permit, can be confiscated if deemed some sort of threat. It is what's gone around in other states. It's the usually incrementalism to do away with a Second Amendment right, and I do believe that this is important to let our legislators, our elected officials at the state as well as federal know that this is important to our community. It's important to the safety and welfare of our residents. And again, there were 17 of you at the meeting, and there was very little discussion. Thank you.
Commissioner Jones?
Commissioner Franklin, one question. Franklin.
You never know. A lot of times these are attached. Again, we resolve to do a lot of things. This is a good way to let the state legislature know how we feel about this, if it is important to this community. I did a little research, and the one thing I did bring up is I found out that a public-owned firing range in Juliet, which is owned by the police department, has done over 5,000 permits. 4,000 permits to date, handgun permits, just at that one location. There are several locations in and around. I can recall a time when the Tennessean newspaper back in the mid-2000s ran a zip code and an address for everybody that had a handgun permit carry, and the 37122 zip code took up 5 pages. I would urge the commission to think about this long and hard before you table it, because there are a lot of constituents out here who are afraid that they're going to lose a very important right. It's the Second Amendment to keep the First. And so I would urge you not to table this. I would urge you to vote on it. If you vote against it, vote against it. That's what we're here to do, vote.
Mr. Ali?
In our committee, we voted to be on the floor, and I believe it should be, we should vote for it.
Commissioner Breeze? Please, Commissioner Bueller, Officer Bueller?
We are talking on your behalf. Please be quiet. We're talking on your behalf, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Questions called for?
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
I've got a question for our county attorney, and I want to preface this by saying that I respect the Constitution. I respect everyone's Second Amendment rights to bear arms. So I want to make that very clear before I ask my question. But being that this is a county resolution, even if we pass it, if at the state level a different law is passed, the state law would usurp what we passed at the county level. Is that correct?
In my opinion, the state law would control.
And it would be the same thing if there is a federal law that is passed. The federal law would again usurp what we passed at the county level, correct?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to ask that question and clarify that. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, last question.
State that this really isn't an issue about owning a gun. I own as many guns as anybody in this room probably. It's an issue about people trying to put fear into someone. If you can show me where somebody's attacking our Second Amendment right now, I'll go home and get my gun and stand with these folks back here. But I don't see that, so that's the way I feel.
You have an amendment on the floor right now to postpone this amendment indefinitely. So you can vote yes if you want to do that, or no if you want to go back and revisit it. Please cast your vote.
Motion to postpone.
You're voting on the motion to postpone it, if that's what you want to do, as amended. Commissioner Costley? All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record. 17.
No, 2 absent.
So the amendment failed. Now we're back, Commissioner Marlowe. Now we're back to vote.
Yeah, you're back on the original resolution.
Yeah.
On the record.
Back on the original resolution. Your motion to approve?
Second.
You've already moved to approve.
Okay? Okay.
That's all. You're ready to vote unless there's more discussion.
Any other comments? If not, are you ready to vote?
Vote.
Please cast your vote on the original resolution that was presented. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record.
19 yes. 2 absent.
Okay. Resolution 20-1-7, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, with support for a grant from the Tennessee Department of Transportation under its Industrial Access Assistance, SIA program.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution 20-1-8, a long one. Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee to reflect revenues received but not included in the original budget for the 2019-20 fiscal year and to amend the budget and appropriation resolution for the 2019-20 fiscal year to make an additional appropriation in the ambulance fund.
Any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. Commissioner Costley and Commissioner Stafford. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record.
23 yes, 2 absent.
23 yes, 2 absent. Resolution passes.
Resolution 20-1-9, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, to reflect revenues received but not included in the original budget for the 2019-20 fiscal year, and to amend the budget and appropriation resolution for the 2019-20 fiscal year to make an additional appropriation to the ambulance fund.
Any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. Commissioner McFarland? All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record.
23 yes, 2 absent.
23 yes, 2 absent. Resolution passes.
Resolution 20-1-10, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, to reflect revenues received but not included in the original budget for the 2019-20 fiscal year, and to amend the budget and appropriation resolution for the 2019-20 fiscal year to make an additional appropriation into WEMA.
Any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record.
23 yes, 2 absent.
23 yes, 2 absent. Resolution passes.
Resolution 20-1-11, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, to amend the budget and appropriation resolution for the 2019-2020 fiscal year to make line item transfers in WEMA.
Any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. All hearts and minds good with your vote? You need to change your vote? Is that what you're saying? No, you're good?
I pushed it 3 times, and I was the only one left.
Okay. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record.
23 yes, 2 absent.
23 yes, 2 absent. Resolution passes.
Resolution 20-1-12, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, to amend the budget and appropriation resolutions for the 2019-20 fiscal year to make line item transfers in WEMA. Yes.
Motion and second. Discussion. Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. Commissioner Costley and Commissioner Patton. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record.
23 yes, 2 absent.
23 yes, 2 absent. Resolution passes.
Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, to reflect revenues received but not included in the original budget for the 2019-20 fiscal year, and to amend the budget and appropriation resolutions for the 2019-20 fiscal year to make an additional appropriations into WEMA. Yes.
Any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. Commissioner Scruggs, Commissioner Gentry. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record.
23 yes, 2 absent.
23 yes, 2 absent. Resolution passes.
Resolution 20-1-14, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners, Wilson County, Tennessee, to approve a commercial purchase and sale agreement with Mark Lineberry, trustee for the Green Hills Women Club property.
Any discussion? Commissioner Stafford?
Percent agree that the office do need to be as a satellite, but I have definitely got to vote no on this, and not encouraging or discouraging anybody. This is just my feelings only. I just think it's a bad location. I still feel like that there's a better location closer into the city of Mount Juliet versus the location. So I'm going to vote no, but everybody else do what's on their heart.
Mr. Walker?
Attached purchase, approve the attached commercial purchase sale agreement. Is it attached somewhere? Resolution says it's attached. Approve the attached commercial purchase sale.
The agreement that we had have been sent to Mr. Jennings, and he has approved the agreement as far as the wordage goes on that.
It's not,
Yeah.
not here.
We may have left it out, Commissioner. Certainly not intentional.
Can you outline what that agreement might be?
Yeah, let me find it here for you. Commissioner, give me just a second, okay? Yeah, the agreement is for a purchase price of $425,000. $155,000 of that's gonna be cash, and then 3 payments of $90,000 interest-free, 2020, 21, and 22. It's got the usual stuff in here. We put in here about title insurance. There is one thing that we need to make sure that we definitely identify, and there is an egress and ingress easement being reserved. We need to make sure that we identify where that is and not leave it wide open. But other than that, it's pretty standard.
Is the renovation included in the,
No, it's
it's not
not.
included in the resolution?
No, this is just to purchase.
Just a purchase.
Mr. John.
Commissioner Ash?
I guess I heard this right. You did say interest-free?
On the $90,000 payments, yes.
That's to the Green Hill Women's Club, and they'll take it and get it away for
I'm
scholarship.
good with the location and all of it. I just hadn't heard anything like interest-free before. Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, that's about as cheap as you can get it, I guess, interest-wise.
Any other questions? Are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote.
Hey, Martha, Wendell, there's one more. There's one.
Road list.
The road list. I failed to put a number on that.
Commissioner Dow?
You just have to give it back to me.
Commissioner Weathers? All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record.
22 yes, 1 no, 2 absent.
2 yes, 1 no, and
Yeah,
absent.
it's the road
Resolution
list.
passes.
I forgot to number it.
Ready for the last one now?
Sorry. Resolution 20-1-16, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, classifying the public roads in Wilson County.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Any old business to come before this body? Any new business to come? Commissioner Robinson?
I'd like to address this body for just a second. Everybody in here has your right to your opinion of how you vote. I appreciate that. It doesn't matter whether you're a yes or a no to me. You know, that's your opinion to be able to vote the way that you want to. However, over the weekend, I was put into a very compromising safety issue. Now, nobody in here knows anybody else's life. They don't know your personal life. They don't know how you live. But when you have a discussion with people and they put it out here into the community, you know, that's pretty sad. You know, it put me, Saturday morning I got a phone call very, very early asking me if I was okay. And I said, yeah, why wouldn't I be? And they said, well, your picture, your phone number, your district, saying, blow your phone up, was all over that Facebook. Mine, only mine. Not these other 24 commissioners that are in here. Mine was. Now, you know, I don't go around asking everybody in here how they're going to vote, because that's your privilege and that's your personal right. But when you compromise my safety, then we've got a problem, folks. And the sad thing that bothers me worse than anything else in here is the information about me that was given out came from a colleague on this court. That's what bothers me worse than anything else. Now, I carry a gun, folks. I'm not ashamed to say I carry. But I hope and pray next month, whatever comes out in this court, whatever kind of resolution comes to us, that I hope and pray that it's not you with your face on that Facebook that everybody can see. Not just a few people, not just your friends, everybody on a site that could be terrorist gun related. So let's think about this before we compromise a lady or gentleman, but especially my safety in these kind of situations. Everybody's.
Any other new business to come before this body? Need one more motion to adjourn? All in favor say aye.